This is my audience. My name is Gracie O'Brien. This is my informative speech. Have you ever spent a day in a special education classroom? Most people haven't, and some people are even scared to. But some students have the opportunity to spend time in one every day. I've experienced this myself as I participate in a reverse inclusion program at my school. Today I will describe what reverse inclusion is, explain how it's implemented, and tell you about the reverse inclusion program at my school. Reverse inclusion has grown in popularity since it first emerged in the 2000s. First, I will discuss exactly what reverse inclusion is. Reverse inclusion is the opposite of mainstreaming, where special education students are integrated into general education classrooms. Reverse inclusion instead takes general education students and brings them into a self-contained special education classroom. This is beneficial as it teaches age-appropriate social and emotional skills through role modeling. It also better helps to create a productive learning environment by taking place in a self-contained classroom, which means that students stay in the same classroom with the same teacher all day learning multiple subjects. Learning in a self-contained classroom allows special education students to receive more one-on-one attention, and that adheres to their individual education plan. It also helps them to work at their own pace and develop problem-solving skills. Reverse inclusion can work in many different ways. Now I will talk about how reverse inclusion is implemented in classrooms. A benefit of reverse inclusion is that students learn together to develop life skills. And life skills can be developed in any environment, which means peers can work in typical class time, like science and math and reading, to develop critical thinking, decision-making, and problem-solving skills. They can also work in more fun environments, like gym class, art class, and music class. And these develop personal relationship skills and self-awareness and empathy skills. They can even work in fun activities like recess and gym. All of these create life skills like cooperation and communication and personal relationships that are beneficial to the students. And they also help to build genuine friendships. And these genuine friendships extend outside of the classroom. Special education teacher Linda Kempfer Baker, a graduate student at California State University, conducted her master's thesis over the implications of reverse inclusion on her third grade students. She asked the general education students, "When I see a student from room 17 on the playground, I say hello." Before the program was implemented, 6 students answered always, 14 students answered sometimes, and 1 student answered never. After the students had spent time in the program, 11 students answered always, 9 students answered sometimes, and no students answered never. Of course, this is an elementary application, but it can be applied to all grade levels. A potential downside is that reverse inclusion can put students in a vulnerable place and can make peers uncomfortable. Ms. Baker asked her student peers what they liked least about spending time with their students. Some students said things like, "The kids keep screaming, when they say bad words, and when they threaten me." Though the goal of reverse inclusion is to have all levels of special education involved, intense behaviors can deter students from making genuine connections. And that's why it's important to have mature and empathetic peers, which can be hard to find with younger kids as they haven't developed those skills yet. However, many classrooms across the country have found success in reverse inclusion. Let's take a look at how reverse inclusion can thrive and what environments help it to do so. One successful program was at my high school, Jefferson Unified Peers. Our program has around 40 peers, and every class has peers in it. We have 3 to 4 peers in each class in all 3 of our special education classrooms. To join the program, we fill out an application explaining why we feel that we fit into this program and why we want to. To make sure that we're not missing any class time, it counts as a gym credit. And we complete assignments bi-weekly to make sure that we understand what we're doing and how we can support our peers. Unified Peers has impacted me in incredible ways. It's given me a safe place at school. And through Unified Peers, I've gotten involved in so many different programs. I now coach Special Olympics with one of my peers as an athlete. And I also work for the ARC as a direct service professional. And I see a lot of my peers while I'm working. And of course, reverse inclusion benefits the peers as well. I asked one of my special education peers, Jasmine, who's also my dancer, about how Unified Peers has affected her. She said, "I make so many friends and they help me learn. We have fun." I asked my other friend, "No way," and he said, "Stop yapping," which which is a great example of vernacular language that our friends pick up from teenage peers that they wouldn't pick up from their staff. Reverse inclusion. Of course, this is a high school application, but reverse inclusion has been shown success in classrooms of all ages. The most important thing to remember is that what works for one student might not work for another, so flexibility and adaptability are key. In this speech, I described reverse inclusion. I explained how it's implemented, and I told you about reverse inclusion in my school. I encourage you to think about your learning environments, if you see reverse inclusion, or if you'd be open to it in the future. Lastly, no matter how, I encourage you to always choose to include.